This uses the, what is this even called? Inked Botanicals Designer Series paper. And I have chosen this pattern right here. Let me actually get my pieces and parts out here. So it's this pattern. This is the back of it. That's going to be our envelope. Piece measures, I think it's 2 1/4 by 4. Let's quickly get the ruler out and make sure. Yep, 2 1/4 by 4. I have a piece of Lost Lagoon that is 5 1/2 by 11. And I have a piece of crushed curry. That's one of the colors along with Lost Lagoon that's in this paper pack. And this is a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of crushed curry. And you can see that I have embossed it with the Cane Weave 3D embossing folder. This is a carryover from the Occasions catalog. So I was very happy to see that carryover. I've got a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of Very Vanilla for the inside of the card. And then I have a 2 1/8, I think, 2 1/8 by 5 3/8 inch strip of vanilla. And then I have 2 labels that come out of the Nested Essentials. So these are the 2 middle ones. We've got the large one, the small one, and these 2 are in the middle. So I have the Very Vanilla is the smaller one, and then the Calypso Coral is the little bit larger one. And we are going to be using a stamp set called Vertical Blooms today. I was pretty excited about this stamp set because you'd never get like vertical sayings. And so this is kind of a fun set of stamps. And then you have all these fun little pieces here that are really cool. And I am going to share something with you when we get to that point. But first of all, what I need to do is we need to do a bit of scoring on this piece here. So like I said, it was 5 1/2 by 11. So we are going to score it at 5 1/2. No, we're going to score it at 4 1/4 because that's going to almost make our card size. Get my cutting blade out of the way. So we've got that one score line at 4 1/4. And so now we can fold this and burnish it with our bone folder because we always need to burnish our fold lines. And then this is what we have. So we have this section over here, which is where we are going to end up putting this piece. But you know what? I might need to cut a little tiny bit of this off. I'm not sure how much. I think I'll decide after I get this glued on how much I'm going to cut off, and I'll cut off. It looks to be maybe like a 1/4 inch, 3/16. I'm not exactly sure. We'll see. But we're going to end up making this be a detachable bookmark. Okay. And so to do that, we are going to be using the Take Your Pick tool tips. And there are 3 of them. I'm going to show them to you in the catalog. So they're on page 145 and they're right here. And so you can see we've got this fun little perforating tool here. The other end, we have a hook kind of end, and then we have a piercing end. So you can make some fine little holes there. And I'm going to put that back together. And then the other piece that comes in this is a X-Acto knife end. And so here that is, so you have an X-Acto blade. And so of course I did get another Take Your Pick tool. So I have 2 here so that I can switch out these tips as I need them, but still keep my regular one for all the things I need to do with it. So we're going to use the perforating tool, and it does have a little safety. You can see that you cannot see the blade there, but if I pull this down, then the blade is exposed. So keep that in mind if you do get these, that you want to keep that closed, because you could cut yourself with it, and we would hate to have that happen. Blood on our cardstock is never a good idea. Okay, so I'm going to use my perforating tool to perforate this edge, and I'm going to use a metal ruler. This is something I got from my mom. It was in her sewing kit, and apparently it was made in San Jose, California. Yay for Made in America. So I am going to put this just at the edge of my piece of cardstock there, so you can see it. I've got the edge there. So I am just going to move this just to the edge of that, and I'm going to hold that down. I'm going to expose my perforating tool, and then I'm going to start this off of my piece of cardstock, And I'm pushing this into my ruler. And then you can see I have a little perforated edge there. Oh, you know what? I think I might have perforated. That's really funny. We're going to try that again because I perforated this. Look at that. Can you guys see that? How did I do that? All right, I'm going to open this up and we're going to try that one more time because we need it to be. Part of the problem is because I can't see. Okay, here we go. We're going to try this again. Good grief. Is that the right spot? I think so. Here we go, starting off of the cardstock. There we go. Okay, now we have a perforated end. There it is. Jeez Louise, I tell you what. Okay, so we're going to set that aside and we're going to decorate this piece of Very Vanilla. And so we're going to use some of the stamps from the Vertical Bloom set. So we're making a bookmark here. And we are using photopolymer stamps. So I'm going to get my foam mat in here. And I am going to start with some Calypso Coral and my sentiment piece here. So let me ink that up. And I am going to stamp that right on the edge here, close to the edge. Try to get it straight. We'll see what happens. And try that. Yep, that worked out pretty good. And then we have this fun little foliage piece that we are going to stamp in some Lost Lagoon. So let me get that inked up. And we are going to stamp it twice, once kind of down here at the bottom, and then once right above that. Okay. And then we are going to get the next color, which is the Crushed Curry. And there's this little piece here that will add flowers right above this here. So let's see if we can get it kind of lined up where we want it to be. Whoops, there we go. And then we'll do it again right here. I'm just kind of trying to look through the stamps to kind of see where all the tips are. And so that's what we have so far. Very cute. Now, I did notice as I was messing around with this stamp that it does come with this little piece right here, this little stamp here. And look how cute that is. It's perfect for about a 2-inch wide piece of paper. Actually, this might be a little bit wider. That's 2 1/8, but you can see it's about 2 inches from edge to edge. So how cute is that? If you wanted to make a bookmark and then just trim off the top, I thought that was kind of cute. I'm not doing that on this. I'm just going to stick this on here and then we're going to poke a hole in it. So let me glue this on with my seal here. Oops, I need to get it rolling. Okay, and then we're going to add it about like so. And then, yep, I think we are going to cut off about 1/4 inch. We're going to see. Yeah, that was probably about 1/4 inch. Okay, and then we're going to poke a hole in the top up here with our take your pick tool. So maybe about right here. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I've got some hole punches here. Stampin' Up! Used to sell hole punches. They don't anymore, but I'm sure a lot of you have some of these handheld punches. And I see Kimberly commenting that she can relate to not being able to see. It's frustrating. It's frustrating for sure. Even with my glasses, I still do not see that well, and it is very frustrating. Especially when, you know, this is your job. But maybe, you know, my struggles will help somebody else. So if that happens, then it's all worth it. Okay, so I've got some of the Lost Lagoon ribbon here. I am going to cut off a little chunk. And I'm going to thread it through. my bookmark hole here. Oh, actually, I want to do both. So we may have to end up using a, what do you call those things? Flosser. Here's a flosser. I always keep one very close to my desk because you never know when you're going to need a little helping hand to get some ribbon through a hole. There we go. So we've got it through, and then we can bring it back, and then we'll have our little ribbon end on our bookmark. Something like so. And then we'll trim off that rest of it. Okay, so we have our bookmark piece done. So let's move that out of the way, and then we're going to add our designer series paper to the layer of crushed curry that we have embossed with the cane weave folder. And if I cut this right, which I don't think that I did, but our cane weave piece is a little longer than it's needed, so we can always cut that off. It's difficult to add paper, but you can trim it off. Okay, so we have that. We are also going to stamp a sentiment on this little piece of vanilla. We're going to do that in some Lost Lagoon. So let me get that. And it's funny, this stamp fits like perfectly on here. Of course, if you can see. Hee. All right, I feel like, there we go. And then I'm going to clean this off, and I am going to stamp it again in coral on a scrap of vanilla. Okay, so we just need the U out of this. Let me get rid of my inks here so I don't stick my finger in it because, well, we all know Barb has a problem. So I am going to cut out the U. I'm just going to kind of fussy cut it, not like perfectly, but, you know, a little here and there. All right, so we are just going to add this with a tiny bit of glue. Where's my glue? Oh, it's hiding up here. Whoops. Add a little glue to that. And then we're going to cover up the U on the original stamped piece, just so we're highlighting the word U. Okay, so we have that, we have this, we have this, and I tied a knot already around a can. I like to use my pixie spray, and all I do is just take the ribbon and I'm going to tie it around here. We're going to make a knot, and then I would chop it off right here and slide it off the can, and then that's what we have right here. So we have a loop. So what I like to do is I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to glue it down. So I'm going to use liquid glue because I'm putting it onto something that has been embossed. And I'm going to put it about right here. So I'm not centering it. As you can see, sometimes centering things is difficult. Okay, so now I have this loop and I want my knot to be just about right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my finger there. I'm going to pull my loop out and I'm going to snip off just enough so that it will wrap around the edge, and then I can pull it back and I can wrap it around over here. So we're just going to kind of cover the seam. Oh, I left my tape somewhere else and I got to use this. So we're going to cover the seam of where the DSP meets the cane weave folder. Okay, and we'll do that. And you can see I'm going across my layer, and this is on purpose. Okay, so we're going to go across that one too. And then I need my nice scissors. Those are not them. These are the ones I use for ribbons. And we can trim off. Now, I need to get the right angle on this to trim this off correctly. So I know this is awkward with my arm in the way, but That's how it has to be done. Okay, so then this one we are going to add with some dimensionals, and I think I'm going to use some minis because I don't have a whole lot of space down here, and I don't want to end up putting a dimensional on my ribbon because then that's just going to add more bulk, and we don't need to add any more bulk. We know how the post office doesn't like that, so we're going to avoid adding bulk if we can help it. All right, so underneath the ribbon, we're going to try to center this on that other layer, and there we have it. Yay! Okay, so now we're going to add this to the front. Nothing super exciting about the front of this card. It's a standard layout that everybody uses. We can press that. And now what's kind of cool, well, let me finish the inside. So here's our inside piece, and I'm just going to stamp this same combination of things on the inside, just kind of right down here in the corner. But let me get a scratch paper because I don't want to stamp onto my foam mat. So we are going to just kind of do that and then bring in the crushed curry. And then I'm going to somehow need to get some coral in here. And there are some other little stamps in the set. So maybe we can get something else to come out here. Where did I do with my stamps? Here it is. So there are these other little goodies. So let's just try that. We'll just see what happens. We'll pull this out and we'll pull this little topper piece out and get some blocks. And we'll kind of see what we can do. So we'll ink this up in the Lost Lagoon, and then we'll try this other little doohickey in the coral. And there. And you know what we might do? We might add another one kind of up here just to kind of pretend like it is supposed to be there, even though it isn't, just to add a little more color. We're going to add this to the inside, like so. Here's the beauty of this perforated card. We can fold it over so it goes to the inside, and then when the person opens it, they'll be able to see that it's perforated, and then they can tear it off and they can keep the bookmark. Is that not amazing or what? And you can just fold that down and you can shove it right into your envelope. You might have to do a little bit of creative shoving, but it should go in there. Voila, just like that. How fun is that? So that is a detachable bookmark card, you guys. I hope you liked it. I have found that these festive pearls, I feel like these are supposed to be soft succulent, but I really feel like they go with the Lost Lagoon. So, I don't know. We're just going to wing it here. I don't know what we're going to do with them, but maybe we'll do this. I need one more. We will pull one off here. How about that? Just something a little different than what we normally do with gems. So now it's done.